What is the role of the Disability Services Office?
The role of the Disability Services Office at Worcester State University is to provide support, accommodations, and advocacy for any and all students who have a disability. Students are covered by a few different federal laws, including the Americans with Disabilities Act as amended in Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1978. We deal with students with a wide range of disabilities, including chronic medical conditions, mental health issues, learning disabilities, attention deficit disorder, temporary disabilities, sensory issues including low vision or blind, deaf and hard of hearing, as well as mobility issues.
Who is eligible?
Any student who may have had a IEP, an individual education plan, or a Section 504 plan in grades K through 12 would be eligible to receive services through the Disability Services Office. In addition, any student who has any one of the disabilities that I mentioned, chronic medical condition, and that might include conditions such as diabetes, seizure disorders, cancer, lupus, any other form of a chronic medical condition, as well as a mental health or emotional issue, sensory issues, learning disabilities, any of the above qualify for registration with the Disability Services Office. You can approach our office prior to your application or admission to Worcester State, as well as if you're a current student, anywhere from undergraduate to graduate student, you can also come and see us.
How do I register for services?
You can register for service with the Disability Services Office through initially contacting us through our website, dso@worcester.edu, stopping by our office, which is located in the Administration Building, room 131, first floor, or calling our office, 508-929-8733. In order to register with our office, a student must have a one-on-one interview with me, have documentation related to the nature of their disability. So for example, that means if you have a chronic medical condition, we need some documentation from your medical professionals, whether that's a physician or a nurse practitioner. If you have mental health issues, from your clinician. If you have a learning disability, that would be from a psychologist or a neuropsychologist regarding testing. So we need documentation related to your specific condition. The documentation needs to be specific as to how your particular disability or condition impacts your life, particularly regarding academics and your life as a student here at Worcester State University. Once we get all of that information together, that is your documentation, your interview with me, as well as your self-report regarding the impact of your disability on your life, then we would develop together accommodations that would meet your needs.
What types of accommodations are available?
We have a few different categories of accommodations here at Worcester State University. The most common are classroom accommodations, and that would include testing, additional time for testing or extended time for testing, reduced distraction testing location. Within the Disability Services Office suite, we have 2 rooms that we provide reduced distraction testing for students who qualify for that accommodation. We also have other classroom accommodations such as note taker, permission to use an audio taping device, as well as some alternatives for oral presentations or group projects. All accommodations are based on an individual's needs. Not all accommodations that a student may request would be authorized, since we have to take into account higher education setting, the individual's needs, and the course content and expected requirements for our degree programs. In addition to classroom accommodations, we also have residence life accommodations. So if you're a student who will be living on campus, we have a process that involves, once again, documentation and interview, working with other departments on campus, health services, counseling, and residence life staff to best determine accommodations that are necessary. For example, we have students on campus who are wheelchair users, and their housing accommodations include housing that allows for the use of their wheelchair, perhaps some special equipment in the bathroom. If you're a student who is deaf or hard of hearing living in a dorm, you would have specialized equipment such as strobe lights and perhaps a bed shaker that would alert you in case of emergency. Thirdly, we have accommodations that have to do with the physical accessibility on campus. For example, we have students who may require, instead of a traditional desk in a classroom, they may, because they're a wheelchair user or have mobility issues, they may require a specialized table or chair. And we would work with our facilities department to assure that students have those necessary requirements for their successful experience in a classroom setting. So we have educational accommodations, residence life accommodations, and general campus accessibility accommodations. In addition to those, we also offer priority registration for students who are registered with Disability Services. That means that full-time matriculated students are eligible for registering for classes ahead of the student body. This is an important accommodation for students with disabilities because depending on the nature of their disability, you may want to schedule classes at a certain time of day in terms of transportation or medication effects or just your general cognitive abilities. Your classes may be better scheduled mid-morning to late afternoon versus an 8 a.m. class 5 days a week. So we have priority registration for students who meet that criteria regarding priority registration.
Where is the Disability Services Office located?
Disability Services Office is located in the Shaughnessy Administration Building. We are located in Suite 131 on the first floor, directly across from the Academic Support Center. And the first floor of the admissions building, of the administration building, is often referred to as the student mall. So we have easy access to the registrar's office, financial aid, the bursar, academic success center, and disability services.